Hey, you crazy whatnuts. It is Wednesday, March 26th in the United States and Canada, and this is a show called What Chaos presented by Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code What Chaos. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. Prize Picks. Run your game. I sit beside Pete Blackburn because my name is David Bean, and over across the room, fresh off a killer appearance on Oilers Nation Every Day with Tyler Yaremchuk, is Sean DePaz. Sean, good job doing the show yesterday.
Thank you. It was fun.
Oil Man rankings on the show. Sean DePaz, #1 now.
Yeah.
Yes. Famously.
Biggest Oil Man. I didn't really have any nice things to say about the Oilers in particular. I said that we won the Matthew Savoy McLeod trade, and
clearly,
and that I want nothing to do with Evan Bouchard. Those were my two main Oilers takes.
In fairness, what was presented to you was, would you trade
insanity
Evan Bouchard? Would you trade, I believe it was Rasmus Dahlin for Evan Bouchard and a first-round pick?
Yes.
And you leaned, you thought about it, and you just kind of...
I was on the fence.
You looked up like Rasmus Dahlin cap hit, and you then...
When I weighed all the numbers and extenuating circumstances, I leaned no.
Yeah,
barely.
You texted us on the group text, and you were like, Evan Bouchard greater than Rasmus Dahlin, ? Working on something. And we were like, huh. Then Pete and I got on a side text. We were like, never really thought about this before. And
yeah. Hadn't considered it, but now it's all I can think about.
Pete, this morning, the good old New York Times sent out a tweet about your Buffalo Sabres that was basically like they're a social experiment to get their fans to kill themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I texted you guys last night. Sabres fans are completely fucking brain broken, cheering for Dylan Cousins and then booing Matthias Samuelsson for like I said. I don't have a problem.
200th game.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with either of those things in a vacuum, but you cannot do both of them in the same night.
I am really getting into the broadcasts and the fan behavior and now coach behavior of technically not eliminated, but like not going anywhere teams. This is where we're starting to have fun. This is where I feel like we're going to see some Ben Affleck appearances. You're getting fun stuff out of Torts. You got Mohawks going on the Sabres broadcast.
Bobby Brown wearing an electric green and blue Mohawk.
Yeah.
Like, what else is he going to do?
We've like officially hit teams sucking themselves off of part of the season.
To be fair, as far as the hair thing goes, it is a yearly tradition. I guess being out of the playoffs at this point of the season is also a yearly tradition. But
fair.
They do the...
act like you've been there before.
Yeah, they did. It was for charity. It was bald for bucks. They shave their hair for charity. So it is a thing they would do regardless. But it does have a different energy when you are playing for nothing.
DJ jumped out of here to get coffee. So let's do... Hey, Pete, tell us today on the show.
Pete, what's on the show today?
I'd love to. Today on the show, Ovi at 889. That boy scored last night. What chaos bump? Some are saying. We have a C... clarification. Thank you, David. This is like an Ashton Hall video where like his like slave woman that he employs does everything for him.
I'm gonna note, by the way, we grab asked too much. Ovi at 889. That's the Ovi at 889 talk for the day. We have too much stuff coming up on the show, so if you missed it, Alexander Ovechkin is now 5 away. Will he get there? Not discussing today, Pete.
C, clarification. That is obviously about Nikita Zadorov clarifying his comments about Jeremy Swayman and once again reinforcing his place in line, first in line, to be the next captain of the Boston Bruins.
Regardless of whether or not he has a C, he is the people's captain.
The people's captain.
Puck knowers know.
Spiritual captain of the Boston
He is
Bruins.
he's your Alex Tuck. Doesn't matter who's wearing the C. He's the captain.
Oh, man. If we sit down with Zadorov ahead of next season, we should have Ben from Sports Dishes just give us a C. We present him with the C.
What do you think about that? We're going to slide an envelope across the table, and it's just a captain's patch.
Oh, my God. That would be so uncomfortable for the Bruins if we did like a sit down with the Zadorov and we presented him with a Captain C sweater. And he was like, really? And we're like, oh, no. Just for us.
We could actually like fuck up the Bruins season by doing that. Because that would
Or
be
save it.
No matter what his reaction was, that would be 4 hours, 3 days in a row on Felger and Maz.
100%.
Of whatever his reaction was, they would decide was not how you're supposed to do it. And now they're stuck with this guy. What does it say about the Swayman contract, et cetera, et cetera?
The Bruins have been really good to us. I really like this idea for a team that has been like extremely difficult to us. Like if the New York Rangers are fine.
Rangers, Panthers.
Fine. We will let you sit down with one of our players. We present to them the next captaincy of the New York Rangers.
Matt Rumpy gets the C. Rangers Twitter goes crazy.
Just go rogue and present the next captain of the Rangers. I love that idea.
Go Rogan.
We're gonna do cup predictions, and not necessarily predictions, but maybe predictions. More like assessing the current Stanley Cup favorites.
Yes.
And we're gonna do that with Steve Peters. He's gonna join the show. It's a PD episode. We all love those.
Breaking news from Bob Stauffer.
Oh boy.
The Edmonton Oilers' Leon Draisaitl is on the ice for morning skate today.
Fuck yeah! No non-contact jersey, contact
no,
jersey.
No information.
All
He
right,
just said
I
that
love this
50 seconds
development.
ago.
Well,
and finally,
if McDavid's not on the ice, then he's not hugging anybody, so there doesn't need to be a contact or not. He's not making contact.
Fair.
And finally, John Tortorella is fed up and over it once again. So I can't wait to get
Pretty
into
sure
that.
he was born over it, but yeah, that's that. So as we said, Ovi at 889, love that. We've got PD coming up. Nikita Zadorov clarified his comments on Jeremy Swayman. And Sunday night, of course, Jeremy Swayman tried to fight Darcy Kemper, got broken up by the officials. After the game, the great Fluto Shinzawa, who is the opposite of a shit stirrer, asked him if he liked that Swayman was standing up for Marat Husnadinov, whose bump into Kemper had begun this whole melee. And Zadorov was very weird about it and said, is that what he was doing? And Fluto said, that's what it looked like. And he was like, oh, well, I don't know about that. No comment. And then we had a show about that. Yesterday, Nikita Zadorov clarified his comments, including an exchange with the initial questioner, Fluto Shinzawa. Here it is.
You're gonna ask me about Sway's comment? You blew it up?
What do you want to say?
Well, when you ask a question like this after 7-2 loss, the players are frustrated. So obviously, the time I was frustrated, and wherever I said it wasn't towards this way, it was just like I didn't expect that question from you. And sometimes, like, you gotta understand the situation we are at and everything. You're pissed after the game, so I was just basically saying, try to stay away from. Find positives. There was a lot of negatives in our game, and I want to keep that way. You know, obviously, we appreciate in this room guys stepping in for each other, and that's a culture that was here before I came here, and I'm trying to follow it as the guy who steps in for teammates. We got Lux, we got Pav, we got everybody. You know, Sway, we need to do anybody in this room. Until I'm here, it's gonna step up for each other. That's the main part for us. So I think he wasn't even thinking like comment towards Sway or anything like this. So it was just a took out of the contest. Obviously, he's a huge part of our team. He signed for the next 8 years, and here I'm here for 5 years, next 5 years. So we're going to be together for a long time and going to be a lot of success with this team and back in the playoff hockey and hopefully win the cup in here. So I think that's where we're going to lead.
Okay, so we got Fluto blew it up. We got out of context. We got was not expecting the question. You got to know not to ask a question at a time like that. On the Fluto blew it up watch, recent tweets from Fluto Shinzawa. Since the game, actually, I think that Zadorov is onto something. 19 hours ago, Fluto Shinzawa tweeted, practice lines. 20 hours ago, Fluto Shinzawa tweeted, Charlie McAvoy, in parentheses, non-contact, is practicing. Prior to that, the blowing up is the link to his story, his post-game story, which is Jeremy Swayman asked Darcy Kemper to fight. Neither Nikita Zadorov nor Joe Sacco endorsed Swayman's invitation. I got to say, Fluto has always struck me as a real asshole.
Why would Fluto do this?
What does it say about Nathan McKinnon's Hart candidacy? All these questions. I laughed out loud at the Fluto blew it up angle.
I mean, Tokyo Sexwell has the best reaction, which is, I'm even more confused now than I was before. I think that's, I generally like agree with that. I also, like, part of me understands what Zadorov's getting at. Don't know if I want my next captain to be saying, I don't want to look for the positives. Don't want to look for the positives. It's only focused on the negatives. 7-2 loss. But I get what he's saying. I get the frustration of it all. Have you ever seen the movie Everybody Wants Him?
Of course. Richard Linklater.
The whole energy behind that thing was like Glenn Powell's character. I believe he has a line in that movie that says, oh, I never think. I just talk a lot.
A little Michael Scott action.
Yeah.
Myself at times. I was most proud during that. I saw Sean endorse Fluto for next captain for a second when at the beginning I was watching you to see how you would read it because I was like, I think that Sean's going to like how Fluto goes about this. Zadorov says, you going to ask about Sway? You blew it up. And Fluto says, what else you want to say? like I'm not here to fucking wrestle with you or whatever. Like, you just brought up Swayman. Seems like you want to say something.
Yeah.
Just go, buddy.
He's the best.
Fluto is... If you're picking a fight with Fluto, I mean, granted, I'm not captain material, so what do I know? But wild stuff.
I don't hold any like weird lingering feelings about anybody in this situation. Like, I thought it was weird that Zadorov said that, and it was a little bit concerning. But if like his explanation is that he was frustrated and just like mad after a 7-2 loss, fine.
Yeah, the other big story that came from last night is that the Blues smoked the Habs, and you wonder, are they now going to run away with the second wild card? They are 13-2-2 since Four Nations break, 7 wins in a row. Dylan Holloway, I feel like people are just realizing, is awesome. Granted, we didn't know that Dylan Holloway was awesome until earlier this season.
We arrived to it first.
Wait, what's that?
We arrived to it first.
Yeah, exactly. We make him awesome. Bauer Client had him on with us at, where do we have him on?
Winter Classic.
Winter Classic. And he's the best, and he's been amazing. A lot of my timeline is stuff about Ken Holland should be in jail, et cetera, et cetera. But are we asking about the wrong team when it comes to wild card placement? Because we've talked about the Blues, the Blues, the Flames, and the Canucks jockeying for that last wild card spot. I saw Greg Wyshynski tweet something, I forget what it was, and a Canucks fan responded to him asking if we're focusing on the wrong team when it comes to those non-playoff teams getting in. This Canucks fan, Arpan, tweeted, keep saying the most realistic pathway for the Canucks/Flames to make the playoffs is Minnesota. Look at the Wild schedule in the last 10. They are more likely to fall. Now, off of that, I crunched some numbers. The Wild have 85 points, which is 6 ahead of the Flames, 7 ahead of the Canucks. When you factor in games played and everything, the Wild are on pace for 97 points. The Flames are on pace for 92 points, and the Canucks are on pace for 89 points. However, and stick with me here, the Wild are the first wild card team. Blues right now are nestled in that second spot. So we're talking about the 9th and 10th teams catching the 7th team, essentially. Although Vancouver and Calgary have tougher remaining strengths of schedules, here is the upcoming and remaining schedule for the Minnesota Wild. You have the Washington football team, President's Trophy winner, best team in the league, right? After that, back-to-back against the Devils. Implications in those games. After that, on the road against the Rangers, technically maybe kind of implications for that one.
Rangers?
Yeah.
No, the Rangers fucking suck.
Okay,
man.
I did a total of 1 implication between the 2 New York teams because realistically the Rangers and the Islanders are not going to make it, but they'll both be trying in those games. So I just did a total of 1. Then you have the Dallas divisional game. Maybe the Wild are saying, we're no wild card team. We're going to get in the top 3. Implications there. Against the Sharks. Then the debut of replacing Dennis Reynolds is, do you see who that is? Can you tell?
It's Bobby Orr.
That's Bobby Orr. You know why?
Yeah, because it's a 4-point game.
It's a 4-point game. They got back-to-back 4-point games at Calgary at Vancouver. Then they wrap it up against the Ducks, who are very disrupty. So great observation by this RPan. I would say my guess is the Wild hold on and the Wild get in, but we are in for some wild watching down the stretch.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair, and I think it's fair to like point a spotlight towards them and say, listen, this is not guaranteed whatsoever. But I also think it's a little bit, and the strength of schedule is tough. But I think that when you consider the Wild, they play good teams pretty close.
Yes, that is kind of their thing.
Yeah, they play good teams pretty close. And when I look at who's behind them, specifically when you're talking about Calgary or Vancouver, the Wild are better than those teams, especially if they have Kaprizov. And, you know, obviously we don't know like what the health situation of the Wild's going to be down the stretch. But like Calgary doesn't belong there. Dustin Wolf is the entire reason that they're in that conversation. Vancouver, like if they can put it together and be a good team consistently, then absolutely, like I'd put them maybe above the Wild, right next to the Wild, but they haven't proven to be that team all year long. So like, I'm not saying the Wild are the team that's gonna fall out, but include them in the mix of teams that are like on the bubble right now. Don't guarantee their spot.
Yes. The Flames are now giving out Rasmus Anderson stared at me shirts, which is very exciting. If you know, when Rasmus Anderson scores, he tries to find an opposing fan, stare him down. Now the Flames are just getting in on it and presenting the fans. You see a Kraken fan there holding up a Rasmus Anderson stared at me shirt. Could we be in for that? Or no, I guess it's going to be a road game. Be wild if they brought a road get up. They'd have to give away a lot of shirts.
A lot of shirts.
A lot of opposing fans are going to be at the Flames game on Saturday.
Yeah, that's true. But it's a Battle of Alberta. Like there's going to be some Flames fans that show up. And so who's to say? Do we bring a Flames jersey just to say, oh no, that we wouldn't get a shirt? We would get a shirt if we were sitting on the glass. So
I think we're sitting on the glass. The nation's going to take care of us.
Okay.
I think. Watch.
I like the behavior though.
Yes. Watch Thursday's game tomorrow. Wow, we got a long day ahead of us. After the show, we are hitting the road. We are hitting the air. We are flying to Edmonton, Alberta. It's going to be great. And tomorrow we will be at Greta watching the Oilers take on the Kraken in a rematch of that Saturday game. It's going to be a lot of fun. You are going to want to stop by. There's going to be t-shirt tosses, nation gear, and What Chaos stuff, game card giveaways, arcade game battles. $15 gets you in and automatically enters you for a chance to win a pair of tickets to BOA Saturday so you can go to the game just like us. We are also going to be at Greta downtown ahead of that game on Saturday. And when I said there's going to be giveaways and that there's going to be What Chaos merch, check this out. I don't know, Sean, if you could go solo dolo on me. This is the only one that will be given away. The Edition Boys found out that we were going to Edmonton and said, let's hook you up with a special edition Edmonton themed What Chaos hat. This, you got a chance to win this if you stop by Greta, and we're going to be wearing them. It looks so good. I'm probably going to wear it Saturday, hopefully toss it for Jeff. Who knows though?
I would love that. Yeah, come to Greta. Come hang out with us. A lot of talk in the chat about Harvey the Hound and what a crazy mascot he is for the Flames. Talking about the Oilers connection. Harvey the Hound's most famous moment is when Craig McTavish ripped his tongue out.
Craig McTavish ripped out Harvey the Hound?
Oh yeah, you've never seen that clip? It's unbelievable.
Probably in maybe what year did he do
He's
this?
like, he was leaning over the bench. It was a long time ago, decades ago.
Oh, I was
But
okay.
Harvey the Hound was leaning over the glass, over the bench, and McTavish just ripped the tongue out of his mouth. It was unbelievable.
Amazing. We're going to get to PD in a second, but are you ready to optimize your nutrition this year? Factor has chef-made gourmet meals that make eating well easy. They're dietitian approved, ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. That's one Nikita Zadorov minor penalty, so you can fuel right and feel great no matter what life throws at you. Factor arrives fresh and fully prepared, perfect for any active, busy lifestyle. You can lose up to 8 pounds with Factor Keto meals based on randomized controlled clinical trial with Factor Keto. Results will vary depending on diet and exercise. I have told you that what I like about Factor is they are considerate of whatever your plan is. If you are thinking maybe go a little low calorie smart, thinking, hey, bulking up, want to get stronger, Protein Plus, or of course, if you want to do keto, Factor has you covered there. So eat smart with Factor. Get started at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and use code factorpodcast. Get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code factorpodcast at factormeals.com/factorpodcast and get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
You know what's coming up? The postseason.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So you can get ready for the season ahead or the postseason ahead with our friends at Shady Rays, because they have quality shades built to last. They have you covered with premium polarized sunglasses that won't break the bank. They're an independent company that offers a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. We're talking about durable frames, crystal clear optics, and the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. They've got hundreds of options to choose from. You're bound to find the perfect pair, the perfect style, and perhaps even the perfect colors to match your favorite team's palette. We wear Shady Rays. We love them. We also trust them because they have the best broken and replacement policy and return policy in all of eyewear. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, you don't have to sweat it. You can get covered with their lost or broken replacement policy, and you can exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. So there's no risk when you shop. Their team always has you covered with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, you can go to Shady Rays and get the best deal of the season, shadyrays.com, and use code AC35 for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Something very interesting in the chat that's currently occurring is people who have teams who are out of it are trying to figure out who should I root for in the playoffs. And I'm seeing suggestions being thrown out. And someone said, Alex said, well, for me, it has to be a What Chaos team, though. I would say that the decision has been made in that case because there's only one that will be in the playoffs. Unless you're talking about
Bruins can run the table.
Are they back? We'll have PD in a second. Unless you're talking about like a darling team, in which I would say the Capitals qualify. The Capitals are a darling team. We were in on them.
Darling team if you win the President's Trophy?
Yeah, it's true. Like, we don't own them anymore.
Yeah, like
I don't even know if we ever did. But it's funny you should ask who you should root for in the playoffs, because that is exactly what we are going to discuss right now with the great Steve Peters. You know him from his appearances across all city things. You also know him from his time with the Arizona Coyotes. But I know him right now from both Friendship and Inside the Coaches Room, the best YouTube channel out there. Subscribe, folks.
Yeah, all 8 of you that are watching. It is the best. I think
you,
ratings matter on that, but we'll get into that another time. Who are we rooting for? I don't know who we're rooting for. It literally is too chaotic.
There is a clarification that was made in the chat. They said it needs to be a WC team. They meant Western Conference, not What Chaos. So that clears that up. I gotta say, Petey, you're looking awfully tan these days.
Hey, buddy, it was 100 degrees yesterday. 100 degrees again here in the desert. Again today. Summer is upon us, and it's very toasty warm here in Arizona.
Our coffee machine is currently breaking.
Absolutely
just dumping water,
spouting water everywhere. I have no idea what's
Never
going
seen
on
anything
right
like
now.
this.
Sean.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's been
Jesus.
Unplugged. A bunch of stuff is flooded.
This episode is
Anything
going
on
off the
floor
rails.
that Sean, you can move near it. Damn.
It's electrical stuff on the floor, isn't there? I mean, I'm not familiar
That's
with
a
it,
little
but I would
bit.
imagine.
Yeah, we do have outlets on the floor. So,
not good.
Sean, tend to that. Take your time. Be good. Appreciate you. Love you. Okay. There, PD, are 4 teams with odds of winning the Stanley Cup, according to Vegas. And we don't do huge Vegas gambling numbers. So I'll just say there's 4 teams with odds better than plus 1,000 to win the Stanley Cup. In order by favorite, the Florida Panthers, the Dallas Stars, the Colorado Avalanche, and the Edmonton Oilers. I'm sure at some point we will discuss the Oilers, but we can go light on them. Who is that team for you that you would say, yeah, I can really see it?
It's funny because the one team you mentioned right before we went on the air is the Washington Capitals, not included. Potentially President's Trophy winner. We're not talking about them. And the Vegas Golden Knights. So one of the top teams in the East and top teams in the West, and we're not talking about them to win the Cup. I'm sure we will later. Of those 3 teams, it's Colorado Avalanche. For what is happening right now, and I think that's important that you take what's happening right now. The Dallas Stars, when you look at what's happening with Rantanen, like all the drama and chaos around with Rantanen, and he's got 8 points 5 points in 8 games. 5 points in 8 games, and all I keep hearing is, "Oh, well, he's got to get used to it. He's got to get used to Dallas. Oh, it's the weather. It's the team. But he's Mikko Rantanen, buddy. You don't take Brock Nelson's almost a point a game player. Like Brock Nelson, we like him, but Mikko Rantanen's got to do better for the Dallas Stars right now. He's the guy that they thought would give him the big boost and will be great. They're 6-2-2. Since the trade deadline, they're 4-2-2. Like that's not very good. Like they're really struggling. The Dallas Stars are not the Dallas Stars we thought they were going to be. Sagan will definitely give him a boost, but it's not the end of the year. Heiskanen's going to miss the first round, so I don't think they can defend as well. It's the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
And we talked about, I'm sorry. I get so excited when I talk hockey.
No. I mean, this segment is born out of, for like the last week or so, I've been like, we just need it on record. We need to have you should think the Colorado Avalanche are going to win the cup conversation. And again, I'm curbing it and doing the like, teams I root for excluded, because if someone, what about the Oilers? They're like, of course I believe in the Oilers. Of course I think that what they're doing without McDavid and Draisaitl and everything shows that they can be absolute dogs in the playoffs. And they showed last year that they're capable of doing it all. But other teams, Colorado Avalanche. I love the Avalanche. I love the way they're playing. I love the way they're built right now. You can have questions on defense, but they are so strong down the middle. And that's even with, and I saw Frank echo something that Pete said when they made the Brock Nelson trade, which is we are seeing the Martin Erat for Philip Forsberg deal in real time. If they go on and they win the cup with Brock Nelson, don't
Nobody
matter.
cares.
And I think that I really think they can. You mentioned the Stars and Heiskanen being out in the first round. That's so huge for Colorado because a team that I feel can win the cup is a team that can absolutely be eliminated in the first round by Dallas, because I'm always afraid of Dallas. However, I think they get through that. I'm a believer in the Colorado Avalanche big time.
I wanted to ask, you mentioned the Washington Capitals not included in there. Also not included in there is the Winnipeg Jets. So the two best and most consistent teams in the standings all year long, not included in the top 4 cup favorites. What does that say about those two teams?
Well, I think for Washington, it was almost too new. Like this is a team that struggled to get into the playoffs a year ago, and you see what they're doing right now is they're getting scoring throughout their lineup. You know, you got Protas, McMichael, Wilson. You got 5 guys with 20+ goals for the Washington Capitals, and I don't know if there's confidence in what they can do in the playoffs. Their goaltending tandem has been absolutely elite all season. Do they have the chops to get them through in this first round? The reality is they're playing some really good hockey right now. Like the Washington Capitals should be getting a lot more love right now than they are in the Eastern Conference. And I think what we're going to see over the next 8 games, they're going to continue to win. One of the problems with Washington, and this sounds counterintuitive, but they're trying to get Ovechkin the record. And you watch the Washington Capitals when Alexander Ovechkin is on the ice, and everybody, and I mean every player on the ice is looking for number 8. There's nobody trying to get pucks to the net. There's nobody trying to make any other play than get the puck to Ovechkin. Now, I get it. We're all excited about the race, but you got to win the games. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see as he gets closer, because right now it's projected he's going to do it in the last game of the year. Like he cooled off. So are they going to get focused on that? Or are they going to focus on winning the President's Trophy? Or are they going to be focused on the playoffs? I'm not sure. And Winnipeg, why do we always do this to Winnipeg? We forget they're in the league because they're in Winnipeg. Like they don't get any national TV love. We never see this team play. And then when the standings get done at the end of the season, you go, oh my gosh, they're kind of pretty good. Again, they have balanced scoring. I just don't know if they've got the star power, the guys you can throw over the ice. I know they got guys that are putting up numbers, and I know Kyle Connor can put up numbers. Scheifele could put up numbers, but Jack Eichel's playing elite. Nathan McKinnon's playing elite. But Draisaitl and McDavid are elite. Like you've got those elite talents that really can push the pace and pull the rope. I'm not sure Winnipeg's got that guy. Their guy's in the back of the net, and that's Hellebuck. He's going to have to be the best player for the Jets to get them over.
Do you see him doing that? Because I go back and forth, and I've wanted to discuss this on the show. Like, who do you think makes a deeper run, or who do you have more confidence in from the 2 top teams in each conference to win the cup? And I change my answer every fucking 5 minutes.
I don't.
Right now it's Washington.
It's Washington for me, and it's more because like they have more depth, and Winnipeg relies on like too few guys to score for them. Like they get a lot of goals from those guys, but when it comes to playoff hockey and you're getting matched up against best on best, like in terms of the best teams running out their shutdown guys, you're going to have to diversify your lineup over the course of a deep run. I feel like Washington has a better chance of doing that. But on the other end, like to your point, if you're considering goaltending,
Exactly.
like that carries Winnipeg further.
And not just that their goaltender is better than Washington's, because their goaltender is better than everybody's goaltender, but Logan Thompson is on my list of guys who could be bad in the playoffs. And a lot of players that we love are on that list as well. But if we end up talking about the Capitals, why'd they miss the play, or why did they get eliminated? I don't think it's going to be they weren't ready for the moment in this place in their development and where they're building, because as we talked about with Butchie, they've got guys who have been there before. Ovechkin, they got Tom Wilson, like John Carlson, people who have been there. I think that what we could talk about with them if they miss the playoffs is I keep saying miss the playoffs, they get eliminated from the playoffs, is their goaltending wasn't very good, even though Logan Thompson's been awesome this season.
Yeah, and you look at their matchups too. They're most likely going to play that last wild card, and who's that going to be? It's Montreal, New York. I don't know, but I think that's a matchup that's favorable to Washington. And then even in the second round, it's Carolina and New Jersey in the second round. Again, it's not, they're good teams, but I still think Washington has the easier path to the Western Finals. The Atlantic is a gauntlet. I don't care. You've got to win the Atlantic. You have to win the Atlantic. So everybody's fighting. We're within 2 points. You got to win. Florida could end up going on the road to Tampa in the first round. And we talk about Florida winning the Cup. Marchand might not touch the ice for another couple weeks, but we know Kachuk's not playing until playoffs start. Ekblad's suspended until playoffs start. And Kulikov maybe at the end of the season. They're never going to play together. They won't play together until game 3 of the first round of the playoffs. That's a tough task. You look at what Bobrovsky's going to have to carry that team, and I know they've got really good players on their Stanley Cup champion, but you're going to throw a team together on the third game of the playoffs that's never played together before and expect instant chemistry. Brad Marchand, Matthew Tkachuk, they're going to be great. Really?
That's
we'll
part
see.
of the thing.
Really is my answer though. They're going to be fucking awesome, brother.
No, but that's the part about Florida that confuses me a little bit. They have the pedigree, they have all the things that you look for, but there's so much uncertainty attached to the Panthers right now. You don't know what Kachuk's going to be like. You don't know what Marchand's going to be like. You don't know what the chemistry is going to be like once you get all of them together. You also you don't know what Bobrovsky's going to be, because in years past he's been very, very roller coastery. So I feel like maybe it's just like the market placing faith in the Panthers based off of the past 2 postseasons, but I'm surprised that they're in that top 4.
I am too, because it shapes up. If Toronto plays Ottawa in the first round, that first round is going to be phenomenal, because then it's Tampa and Florida. I like the way Tampa Bay's playing right now, and Vasilevsky's back on track. Kucherov's on fire. Their power play is elite. Gensel's been phenomenal, top 2 power play scorer in the league. We're talking about Florida winning the Cup. They might not make it through the first round. And so I think that this is going to be an incredible first round matchups there. And then in the West, Dallas and Colorado facing off to start it off. 2 teams that could win the Stanley Cup have to face off in the first week. It's horrific that matchup's right away. And again, we go back to Colorado and what they have done of late. You put up the numbers, and I like numbers. Since their last 13 games, they got 4+ goals 10 times. They've given up 2 or less in 9 of those 13. They are smoking teams. The offense is there. The defense of their goaltenders, Blackwood, 20 wins in 30 starts, 2.2 GA and a 917 since he's been in Colorado, and Wedgwood's been better. 10-14, 202, and 918. Their goaltending is the best it's ever been in Colorado when they've been competitive. They had Kemper. I mean, I like Kemper. He's playing great in LA, but these 2 guys are playing better as a tandem. Their goaltending is great. I know they need to get Manson back. Hopefully they can on the back end, but this is a team built from front to back. They're faster with Natchez than they were. Sorry, Mikko Rantanen. They're faster with Natchez. They're better on the power play, and this team can blow teams out. I don't know. To me, it's Colorado and Vegas in the Western Finals. Sorry, Edmonton. I just don't know if you're going to get over this year. I think it's Colorado and Vegas in the Western Finals, and I think it's Western. I think it's Tampa Bay and Washington in the East.
Tampa Bay and Washington is interesting because we talked about goaltending a bit in this conversation. How many teams are there in the playoffs this season where you're like, I know for sure the goaltender is going to be really good?
Yeah.
I have 2 people on that list right now.
I mean, I think the answer should always be 0.
And Hellebuck.
Right. Goaltending is just so unpredictable.
You know what? Maybe it is 0 because, Pete, to your point, one of the people on my list, Connor Hellebuck, what was he in the postseason last year? We had to, game after game, we were like, do we say it yet? Do we say it yet? Right. Do we say it yet? He's not playing well. And Vasilevsky, as you said, he's back on track, but you never know. A lot of guys, though, who can be that next like Matt Murray or Stu Skinner
Yeah.
type where
You know
it's
who I'm
like,
throwing
you
in
know
there?
what, you can win with anybody.
You know who I'm throwing in there?
Who?
Joe Woll.
As a guy who could
Yeah.
be really good?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, but definitely not on the list of I know
I'm
what
sure
I got.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Certainty is
Yeah.
not for the NHL playoffs, though.
And the best goalie right now in the NHL over the last 10 games is Aiden Hill. He's 8-1-1. He's got a 1.79 and his save percentage of .935 and 2 shutouts. Like, he's been phenomenal. But again, we're not talking about him. But could he lay an egg? Yeah. Like, we've seen Aiden Hill go up and down in his career. We saw him win a Stanley Cup, but he didn't even start that playoff. And so I do think when you look at the best goalies in the league, can Ottinger struggle? Yeah. We've seen it in the Western Conference Finals twice. And we've seen Hellebuck struggle. You know, the Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky are the two that you go, okay, yeah, these guys, we can count on them. They're going to be great. We talk about the Colorado goaltenders. Blackwood hasn't done it. I don't know. Like, game one of the playoffs, does he always tighten up and he puckers up a little bit and goes, uh-oh, this is for real and we're playing the Dallas Stars? I don't know. And I think that there are going to be a lot of questions answered in that. Washington's been going back and forth forever. Boston did that. And that didn't work out so well when they got to the playoffs because you got to pick one, or do you? Boston thought you did, and it didn't work. So I don't know if Washington's going to be able to figure out what to do with their goalies either. Goaltenders can make the difference. You guys know that. I mean, we could talk all we want about how great Draisaitl and McDavid are, but unless Skinner is good, they're not going to win. So goaltenders can skew this whole thing. And you're right. He could win the cup, but he also might be sitting down by game 3. And Solars takes over. Like, it's that kind of a season where it's so chaotic that you can't predict these scenes that you go, oh, that team's, they're rolling. They're going to go. We haven't talked about Carolina yet. I mean, there's so many teams.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because my next question was going to be, like, there's always an element of unpredictability when you head into the postseason and you see the bracket, and that's kind of what makes the whole thing great. But does it feel like this year there is more parity and uncertainty and just like could fucking go anywhere than years past? Because we're talking about this whole thing started with the top 4 best odds to win the Stanley Cup, and the 2 best teams in the league are not in that top 4. I think that speaks to just like nobody fucking knows or has any certainty when it comes to this year's playoff bracket,
especially in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
But I would say even without it being yelling at us from the Eastern Conference, I think it'd be wise to bring up that point if the East were mirroring the West right now, because like I said, I love the Avalanche. I can't tell you that they're getting out of the first round. Like, you can love the Jets. Are they not going to have a repeat of what they did last year? You can love the Oilers. As you said, Petey, what if Stu hits a wall like he did in the second round last year and there isn't the correction? There's 2, or what if these injuries maintain? What if Rantanen never really becomes Rantanen? There's so many what ifs, and they're not eye-rolly what ifs. They are very, very plausible what ifs.
Yeah, and look at you, Winnipeg. Winnipeg could end up playing St. Louis in the first round and get the Binnington-Hellebuck matchup that we've been all waiting for from the 4 Nations. Man, St. Louis.
Who's been waiting for
that's
that?
a good hockey
Nobody's
team.
been waiting for that.
I know, but I just had to throw it out there. And maybe they'll
He
fight.
doesn't
at center
like
ice. Let
anything
him
that
go.
involves Binnington matchup.
I don't either,
exactly.
but if Binnington plays Hellebuck and it matters for the play, St. Louis can beat Winnipeg in 5. Like, St. Louis is playing that good. They can play strong. They've got a lot of skill. They can score goals. And Binnington, like him or not, dude can play. So we talk about Winnipeg winning the West. They might not make it out of the first round, and they might only get 1 or 2 wins if they play St. Louis. I still think Minnesota's going to fall because their injuries are hurting them enough, and I still think St. Louis is going to end up playing Vegas, and I like Vegas in that matchup. But St. Louis plays Winnipeg. It's like you said, there's nobody you go, okay, I'm really confident in their first round. I'm really confident. You know, in the East, I think Washington, because they're going to play that team that's just going to fight to get in. Washington, Montreal, I like Washington. Washington, New York, I like Washington. You know, Boston gets it, and Boston's not getting in, buddy. So they're not going to play Washington. But that first round matchup, Washington might be the only first round matchup that I go, okay, the LA Edmonton. Here we go again. And so I think this is harder than ever to look at this 16 teams and go, okay, we got a clear winner, or we got 2 teams clearly going to be in the Western Finals or the Eastern Finals. I don't think that's the case this year. I think there's so much parity, and there's so many competitive teams, and there's so many teams fighting to get in the playoffs this late in the season that you're still talking about matchups. A year ago, we were talking about, okay, this is set. We're done with 10 games to go. So this is a real testament to the NHL and what they've done with their parity.
Yeah,
and the parity last year was bad. Like most of the playoff picture was set. The part that wasn't set was just like will one of these teams just fucking stop being an asshole and secure a playoff
And
spot?
decide which one of them is going to get devoured. We're talking
Who can lose the most? Yeah.
The great Steve Peters, he's got breakdowns of the Ovechkin goals, also controversial stuff that you might wonder about video-wise, like Rempe's treatment from officials. He's got great conversations on there. Inside the Coach's Room, make sure you are subscribed. We will get you out on this. Tell us about Jacob Chychrun.
Yeah.
You worked with him.
First, yeah, you know what? Chychrun's a really good defender and a really good player. And I think you look at that contract and you go, oh my goodness, like really, are we sure? We were talking about this kind of money when he was back in Arizona. The offensive side of his game is there. There is no question. He skates phenomenally well. He can shoot. His shots, one-timer is great. His wrist shot is great. He's got great offensive vision. He can walk the blue line. All of the things you want from an offensive player. He just couldn't play from the red line in. He couldn't read rushes. He didn't know where to play in defensive zone coverage. He was poor. Like he was really bad. And it was always a question, gosh, is the good outweigh the bad? And now you're looking at him as a plus 24 for the Washington Capitals. He's a guy that, he's ripped, by the way. And I don't know if we're going to talk about the guy with a shirt off. If I look like him, I would never, ever, ever, ever wear a shirt. Like it's sick. But he's stronger. He can pin guys against the wall. He can turn pucks over below the goal line. He's got good stick on the rush reads, and he's improved. Now, is he still your best defender in the National Hockey League? No. Like he's not. He's not going to be that guy that go, hey, we're protecting a lead. Let's make sure he's out on the 2-on-1. It's not him. But his defensive game has improved so much that, yeah, you can build around him. His offense isn't going away. The one thing about him, though, is how he competes and how he prepares. I've never seen a player, and I'm sincere with this, never seen a player worry about everything in his preparation. From every bite of food that he puts in his body, he's kind of like Tom Brady in that. When he left Arizona, he started eating raw livers and raw beef hearts, like raw, like not cooked. Like he'd have to go to special butchers because he wanted that really lean, healthy protein. And he's a little goofy. And a goofy guy can really help you if it's for the right reasons. And it is. He wants to compete and he wants to win. I want him on my team. I want Jacob Chychrun on my team. I think he's going to be an asset there for a very long time. Now, does it disrupt some feathers in the room because he's signed longer than a lot of guys and he makes more money than everybody now except Ovechkin? Yeah, I mean, that always happens in a room. You're going to have that little bit, hey, wait a minute. He just got here. Tom Wilson, I'm here. Like, well, wait. So I do think there's going to be some of that, but I would lock Chychrun up absolutely for as long as you can.
As long as he plays well, those questions kind of disappear or at least quieted. The only time those questions come up is when somebody's playing like an asshole and they're like, he's making fucking 9 sheets a year. Sick.
Yeah. Carlson? Oh,
so I was gonna do the. We were talking about we could do a lot of time on Carlson, John Carlson, good Carlson. You and I
the good Carlson. We like the good Carlson.
Yeah, bad you and I talk about bad Carlson from time to time.
Kyle Dubas signed that deal, by the way.
Yes.
Just checking. One playoff win for Kyle Dubas, by the way, if you're counting. He's got one.
PD, you know that we're going to Edmonton after this. We're on our way to
Edmonton.
Edmonton.
How does that happen? It's not even the playoffs. How are you guys doing that?
Well, we're staking it out for the playoffs.
Yeah,
Pete's scouting
get a free hat.
We're pushing Jeff Skinner across the finish line.
Well, don't miss Sherlock Holmes and the Underground. The Underground. Did DJ? Did you make it to the Underground last time?
No, I'm a pub 1905 man myself.
Oh, I see a little bit bougier, but get away, get away, get Sherlock's in the Underground, and I'm excited for you guys. The weather's great. We love it on the river. A great town. I'm excited. Maybe we'll see in there in the playoffs again. Who knows?
Yes, PD, yeah, brother. You're the greatest. We'll follow you in the playoffs just so we could be in the same place. You are the best at what you do, my friend.
Well, let's talk a lot in the playoffs, and I think that's where this gets really exciting is when we can look at the video and go, okay, Colorado's playing Dallas. What's that going to look like? So I'm really excited to see these matchups and really get to the film and start breaking this stuff down.
Awesome. Thank you so much, my friend. We will talk to you soon, I am sure.
Bye, guys.
It's Steve Peters, and I'm not bullshitting. Make sure you are subscribed to Inside the Coach's Room on YouTube. And yes, I always ask that you subscribe to What Chaos on YouTube, but certainly make sure while you are subscribing to things, do not miss PD, because whether it's videos explaining plays or goals or calls, he also just has some stuff that just makes you understand rules better. And even if it's rules, yeah, I know what that means. I know what that hand signal means or whatever. It still kind of fills it out in your brain. He's great. And he talks in those videos the way he talks with us, which is idiot-proof, straightforward, and just a fun guy. Very lovable. Before we do a slate grade, let's talk about John Tortorella, because the Philadelphia Flyers have lost 11 of 12 games. They got smoked by the Leafs last night, 7-2. They have lost 11 of 12 games. And Peter, that stretch began with a 7-game homestand.
Yikes.
It is so bad in Philadelphia. So bad. Their only win was a shootout win, too.
Not good. The quotes from Tortorella. Do we have the video?
Yeah,
All right,
here's him talking about his mindset right now.
This falls on me. I'm not really interested in learning how to coach this type of season where we're at right now, but I have to do a better job. So this falls on me, getting the team prepared to play the proper way until we get to the end.
What do you make of that?
You don't like it. I identify with it so much.
Why?
Sometimes you just see something in black and white and you're just, and like to say, like, it does not interest me to, that's an interesting little hockey text, but being like the kind of Daniel Plainview voice, I don't like to talk about those things. Like being that compartmentalized, I think is healthy. It's not amazing in front of the microphone to just be
that's
like,
my takeaway.
we're
You can't
playing
say
out the
it.
stretch and we're so bad and I'm coaching a team that is going nowhere and this does not interest me.
You can't say it. That's my only
even as I
thing.
say, I'm like, there's no, even if you identify with it, I don't even know if you want to identify with it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like you have to take something from it. You have to, and I get the vibe and the energy of it where it's just like, listen, this is just a lost season. What are we gaining from this? You can't stand up in front of a microphone and say it because then everybody's like, well, is he checked out? Like that is now the big takeaway is John Tortorella checked out of this Philadelphia Flyers team. And like, I hadn't been wondering about whether they move on from Torts because like, I honestly wasn't expecting much from that team, but now he gets in front of the mic and says something like that. And I do wonder, like, do you move on from him because you're concerned that he's checked out of your group? And I think that's a fair concern to have. So you don't want to hear it from him. It's not the first time you've heard something like this from him. And it's not the first time like the wheels have completely fallen off at the end of a Philadelphia Flyers season that hasn't exactly gone great. And like my question to Torts, and he was not answering questions last night. My question to Torts based off of that would be like, well, how much does this like differ from the expectation? Because everybody knew that you're in a rebuild. You're not expected to be in the thick of things around this time of year. So why are you mentally checked out when this is kind of where you expected to be?
I infamously thought they could be better than they were this year. I thought that they could even be a surprise team, and
I was never on board with that.
it was surprising just how bad they have been. So I was right in that they could be a surprise team because I don't think you thought they would be this bad. It's a great question that you raise on Torts' future. Does he stay there? Does he want to stay there? And should they want him to stay there? Tough times in Philadelphia, but they'll turn it around, friends. I still got my Matvey Michkov jersey. Let's welcome back to the show producer Sean DePaz, who was away for part of the PD conversation, tending to the coffee machine fracas. Disaster is what we'll call it. The chat also wants to know how you're doing. Sean, could you fill us in on your last however many minutes?
Not a whole lot to fill you in on. I unplugged the coffee machine and threw down like an entire roll of paper towels. And that's that, more or less.
Where was the water coming from? Because it looked like it was coming from behind the machine.
It was coming I don't know. Once I unplugged the machine, the water stopped running.
I would hope so.
So I don't know. I don't really know where it was coming
I hate
from.
that coffee machine. I hate it.
I have a tough relationship with it because it makes it makes the best cup of coffee I have ever gotten from a coffee machine. Absolutely. Like outside of baristas at nice places making stuff, we use good beans and it grinds it. It does a spinning thing. It does this whole thing. It's an expensive machine. And it makes you the best single serve cup of coffee you can get. It needs maintenance and not in good ways.
It's
not in like
temperamental.
you gotta refill this thing every now and then. Like, no, like it just fucking does that. Like that's never supposed to do that, but it does shit like that.
Yeah. It's very temperamental. It has outbursts. And personally, I'll say it. I'm not even like that big of a fan of the cup of coffee that it makes. But we have different coffee sort of
palettes.
Like coffee palettes. Yeah. Like I like the cheap kind of diner-esque coffee.
So your issue is the beans, though, that it's not the machine. But you're
Okay.
saying, like, if I'm going to do cheap beans, why would I do it in a fancy machine?
Yeah.
I'll just do it in a thing. Like, you could probably wait 5 minutes to get your coffee if you're going to do like a drip thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we just need a barista. That's the next.
It's just chat's theorizing that why Sean won't get on camera. They say that he's dripping wet from fixing the machine. Sorry to break that vision. He is dry as a bone.
Yes.
Love to see it. All right, should we do a slate grade?
Yeah, let's get to a slate grade. Beginning with, there's only 4 games, and they all have implications, folks. Yeah, that's right. Yeah? Are you going to disagree? Oh, Bruins and Ducks, you think?
Bruins
doesn't?
and Ducks.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I'm pretty sure I meant to delete that one.
Oh, yeah, just an error.
There's implications for being assholes.
That's the thing, though. Like, my friend texted me, and he was like, Bruins are dogs against the Ducks. I was like, they should be. Ducks are better than the Bruins.
Literally a bottom 3 team in the league.
That's what I echoed what you said, which is like right now, roster wise, they're a like actual bottom team in the league. But the Canucks and Islanders kick us off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with a
Bo Horvat revenge game.
A Bo Horvat, yes, okay, a Bo Horvat revenge game. I was gonna say a Michael Del Zotto Bowl, but that one's better. You then have the Devils at the Blackhawks in a Taylor Hall Bowl, right?
Yep.
Devils at Blackhawks. That's at 7:30.
Speaking of which, Taylor Hall still red hot. Scored a great power play goal last night.
Good hockey player.
How many points does he have?
More than Mikko Rantanen.
I mean, everyone does. Taylor Hall, hockey DB.
He may have more goals than Mikko Rantanen has points.
I mean, he has 7 goals since the trade.
Oh yeah, so then he
Mikko
does.
Rantanen definitely does not have 7 points since being traded from Colorado. 7 goals since being traded from Colorado.
Carolina. Oh.
No, I don't think he has 7 goals.
Maybe.
Let's see.
Who are we talking? Who has
Mikko
7
Rantanen.
Oh.
Does he have 7 goals since being traded from Colorado? I was saying
Colorado.
specifically since Carolina. Carolina, he's got 5 points.
Mikko Rantanen he's got 4 goals.
Oh man.
Since being traded from Colorado. Like he ain't done shit, dude.
No, I know, but like Taylor Hall, shout out Taylor Hall, just absolutely lapping Mikko Rantanen in terms of returns right now.
Yeah, he is on lap watch.
Yeah.
He's coming up on him, almost double him. Stars at Oilers, 10 p.m. Eastern. We'll be traveling, but I don't know what the Wi-Fi situation will be. I'm going to try to listen at the very least, get Bob and the gang on the call. Stars at Oilers at 10 p.m. is, of course, a Cody Ceci Bowl.
It's also a Corey Perry Bowl.
Corey Perry Bowl. Can it be a revenge game if it's the same? If they played for them last season, though?
No.
It's still
gotta be
the
last
team.
team.
Can't fudge the numbers.
Yep.
Can't fudge the numbers.
Gotta be
We
the
would
last
never dream
team.
of it. And then the Bruins at Ducks. That is a Hampus Lindholm Bowl at 10 p.m.
That is a Hampus Lindholm revenge game.
Yes, it is. But if he's not playing in it, can it be?
No.
So want to make it a Nick Ritchie Bowl instead?
No. Gross.
Why?
I-
David Backus Bowl, Neil Simmons
So
says.
Frank
Very
Vetrano
good.
Bowl.
There is
A what bowl?
Frank Vetrano.
Oh, that's a good one. Frank Vetrano Bowl.
the
We'll go
list
with
of
Frank.
players that I have disliked on my team more than Nick Ritchie. Very short.
There are players in my quote unquote career who I have been loudly and because people don't listen, they interpret as obnoxiously. I've been loudly / obnoxiously steadfast in being like, no, this is not a good player. Bruins fans were so happy when the Bruins traded Danton Heinen for Nick Ritchie. And I was like, you don't know puck. This guy, you are going to hate this player. Shout out Nick Ritchie. The other one is Mac Jones.
Yeah. At least
Deeply.
Mac Jones, like there was something there. It was just, I don't know. I don't want to get into the
Matt
Mac Jones
Bolesky Bowl.
discourse.
Very good. Yeah. Kevin Shattenkirk Bowl.
Andre Kasha Bowl.
An Andre Kasha Bowl. This, of course, is an A-. I forgot to grade yesterday's. Yesterday's was a good one, but I'll say retroactively still an A-. No, yesterday at the time I would have given an A.
Yeah, yesterday was good.
Minnesota, Vegas, plus
Good structure.
Jets, Capitals. Yeah. How's the structure on this one? When do we get tucked in, Sean? Structure on this is 7:30 to 10. 2 at 10, though, not a good structure.
Not a good structure.
2, 7:30, 2:10, yeah, it's a bad structure.
Well,
it's an A-.
It Stars Oilers probably will not start until 10:30.
Oh, it's a TNT
It's a
game.
TNT game, so it probably won't start till 10:30. Makes the structure a little bit better.
Okay. Well, be on the lookout for us in Edmonton, folks. We will be there. Hang out with us at Greta Thursday. We've talked about it. You know the whole shebang. And then we'll be at the game on Saturday. Thanks to Petey for joining us. And Pete, is there anything you would like to tell the folks?
I would like to tell the folks to please like this video. It's a thumbs up button right below a video player. We would very much appreciate you spiking that football, spiking those numbers. Like, spike, please. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do that as well. If you're on audio, there's plenty of ways you can support, whether it's 5 stars, whether it's a little blurb review, say some nice words about us. It all helps. And if you're on social media, on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, we're on all of those. You can find us at What Chaos Show. So please support the show in whatever way you can. And if you're in Edmonton, we'll see you this weekend, baby.
I forgot to say, big news, Utah Pro Shop Wars comes out today. Pro Shop Wars Utah will be out today. It is a long one because it's the first 2-parter. We do a tour of the store by ourselves. They let us in by ourselves before it was open, gave us our own personal little spree. It was amazing. And then the next day, we were there, I believe it was November 15th, for the first ever retail jersey day. Jerseys available to buy for the first time. Huge lines, season ticket holders, customization stations. You see the mad rush of us trying to find jerseys in our sizes. Can we get the players we want? It's frantic and it's a lot of fun. So be on the lookout for that. Utah fans, that will be out today. See you in Edmonton. Bye.
We all silly like the mayor.